Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, January 23rd, 2026, and a mighty cold Friday it is right now. I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzky. Welcome into our special short edition of Ask Andrew Live. Just a little bonus episode this morning as we continue to track some dangerously cold wind chill values. And yeah, the temperatures aren't far behind either. The coldest we've seen so far this season, and the wind chills, yeah, those are also the coldest we've seen so far. So here's what we're going to discuss here in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Of course, what's going on now with wind chills, and do we have the worst yet to come? Plus, some snow potential this weekend is also on the way. Who gets what, where, and when? We'll answer all of that as well. Plus, we'll take a little sneak peek into the long range to see, can we find some relief from this really cold air? And also, if you're curious too, we'll take a quick little drive around the country to show you who's going to see what for impacts with this winter storm that'll be just to our south coming in for the weekend. So, hope you are staying warm this morning. I know a lot of schools have canceled classes. Even some small businesses have closed up shop for today. So let's give our small businesses, especially later this weekend and early next week, a little bit of extra love as some of those are losing out on our dollars here this morning. Let's start off with what we've got going on right now, and that is the bitterly cold temperatures. We're at the coldest point so far this morning by about 11 to 12 degrees below zero. Our wind chill here in the Quad Cities has been bouncing back between 30 and 35 degrees below freezing. So no doubt, it's been a cold start to the morning, and it will continue to remain cold heading into the afternoon. You look at the dew point temperature here on the screen. This is impressively low, and this tells me that if we had any kind of snowpack on the ground that was substantial, even just a few inches of snow, this morning would have easily been a very similar situation to what we had on January 30th, 2019, where we had record lows in the low 30s below zero and wind chills in the 50s below zero. That's actually going on to the north of us right now, because that's where the snowpack is. It's our northernmost hometowns up along the Highway 20 corridor that have had the coldest wind chill numbers so far this morning, and of course the actual coldest temperatures this morning as well, with those readings near 20 below. The wind chill, where you see again, we talked about that blood red color yesterday. That's where the real life-threatening stuff is, where if you're caught outside, say for 20 to 30 minutes and you don't have your skin covered up, you're not layered up, that means a trip to the emergency room for frostbite for you. So all of these numbers very bitey this morning. We don't see much in the way improvement heading into this afternoon. We're still going to have these readings of about 30 to 35 below. But here's what I'm talking about in terms of a 2019 situation. So up here in parts of Minnesota and the Dakotas, they do have some snow on the ground. And in most cases, it's about 2 to 3 inches deep, some places a little bit more. But look at their wind chills. It's because we have no snow here, this air is able to slightly warm up itself a little bit. It doesn't have nearly as much cold potential as it would if we had snow on the ground. So we're getting what we call a modified version of this Arctic air, and that's why our feels-like temperatures are in the 30s below zero as opposed to the 50s. But without a doubt in my mind, had we had snow on the ground with this coming in, we'd be in the same boat that northern Minnesota is in, along with the Dakotas too, where we would see even lower wind chills. Here's the plan, speaking of wind chill, for the rest of today. This is by 10 o'clock this morning, still below 40 below to the north of us, and then just after lunchtime for this afternoon, not really seeing much improvement. Still about 30 to 35 below, so you can see why schools have canceled for today, because this is all day, or we have these really nasty numbers coming in. Heading into tonight, tomorrow morning, it's kind of a rinse and repeat. No 40 below zero, but it'll still be 30 below zero for the wind chill. And then as we go into Saturday afternoon, that's when we'll start to see a break from the worst numbers, and we'll start to get some teens below zero for wind chills. So we have an extreme cold warning in place right now for the entire Quad Cities that will go until noon today. And then after that, a cold weather advisory will begin taking over until we get through Saturday afternoon. I want to step this back though, and we're going to do this on the fly, so you're going to see some things move around here. But just to show you how expansive this storm system is across the region here, what you're seeing in the pink, those are winter storm warnings stretching from Dallas, Texas to Wichita, St. Louis, Memphis, Cincinnati, into parts of the Virginias and the nation's capital. To the northeast of that, in kind of this turquoise color, you've got winter storm watches, and that goes for New York City and the northeast coast. Essentially, and I'll show you with future track, travel is going to become near impossible here later tonight and especially later tomorrow afternoon for areas east of St. Louis, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and into the northeast. They're expecting not only some heavy snow, but south of that into Memphis and also into northern Texas, they're expecting significant icing to take place with this storm system too. So let's start with our snow system here coming in for tomorrow night into Sunday morning. And we're also going to do this on the fly too. So you're going to see some things move around, but I want to zoom in once we get to a certain point here on the future track timeline. So this is still going to be very late tomorrow night into early morning on Saturday. So this is 6 o'clock tomorrow night. We're starting to see some of the snow showers begin south of the Quad Cities, say Mount Pleasant, Burlington, Galesburg, and also into Kewanee, some snow showers there. But the steadier snow is going to be arriving by daybreak on Sunday morning. And we're going to likely see a band set up from Mount Pleasant to just south of the Quad Cities, racing through Geneseo and Princeton, and then south of Sterling Rock Falls, a little bit of a steadier snow band that will persist through the remainder of the morning. Once we get to the noon hour, that will begin wrapping up, and we'll see another round of some cold air push in behind that snow. What about snowfall totals? Let's take a look at that with future track. And I agree with this. I do believe it's not very much even for our southernmost hometowns. It's an inch or less. If you're in Galesburg, Macomb, into Burlington, you could see a couple of inches there. This will be the very light, fluffy, powdery snow because it's going to be falling within an air mass that is extremely cold. So it's going to be hard to measure, especially with the wind blowing it around. Wind gusts will continue to remain between 25 and 30 miles an hour at times this weekend. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom this out because I've already had a couple of you asking, travel conditions across the country, when do things really start to deteriorate? So we're going to re-rack feature track. We're going to zoom it out here to the national level so you can see exactly when and where things are going to really start going downhill quickly. So it's tomorrow morning where places like Dallas and Arkansas, Memphis start to see that icing event take place. That all marches eastward. The snow begins falling in parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, into the Virginias by tomorrow afternoon. It becomes exceptionally heavy, especially in Kentucky into Virginia. And then we get this second area of low pressure that comes in early Sunday morning. That's the one that gives snow to our southernmost hometowns, but it also gives a decent heavy snow for downstate Illinois into Indiana and the Ohio Valley through Sunday morning. So you can really see on the timeline here how things quickly go downhill to the south of us, beginning tomorrow all the way through Sunday morning. And then later Sunday, that whole mess will pull off to the northeast. But this is going to be a very, very impressive system. And notice how long the freezing rain lingers, that freezing rain threat to the south there in parts of Memphis, Tennessee, also into Kentucky. I have not had a chance yet, excuse me, to pull up the ice potential, but I'm going to do that really quickly, again, because we can. We're doing this all on the fly here, just to see what some of the projections are for some of those areas to the south. And there you see more than half an inch of ice, in fact, 1 to 3 inches worth of ice in a very widespread region. This is downright impressive. This is going to be historic if this ends up coming to fruition. Dallas, Texas is included in that, all the way to Little Rock, all the way to Memphis. I mean, Memphis is right in the heart of where you're going to see more than half an inch of ice. Nashville's in there too, all the way up through Kentucky, all the way up through, oh my goodness, even into parts of the Carolinas. So that's going to be an absolute mess. That will be something very historic should that pan out. That's going to mean power outages for days, if not weeks. And given the strength of the cold air that's coming in, that just spells disaster. So thoughts and prayers with everyone to the south of us who's going to be dealing with this likely historic ice storm. We'll be dealing with the Arctic cold, and that'll be about it. Why are we seeing the cold? I showed this graphic a few weeks ago, way back before Christmas, that we had a strong polar vortex. Well, we don't have a strong polar vortex anymore. It actually weakened considerably, and what has happened, and you can kind of see it here in this graphic, is we've broken the polar vortex into two pieces, and it's been stretched. It's got this very elongated look to it. That is a weak polar vortex, and that means it's not tightly wrapping itself around the North Pole. When it's weak, it's able to wobble and go north and south fairly easily. So that's why we're getting cold all of a sudden. So when I talked about the end of December and early January having a strong polar vortex, that was the case. We did. And that kept the Arctic air away. But now that the polar vortex has weakened at the end of the month here, we are starting to see the cold air return, and the bitterly cold air at that has returned too. So this is what that looks like for the next week. It is going to remain cold. We are still going to have consistently overnight lows in the single digits, both above and below zero, and daytime highs will likely not get back above freezing until we get to about Groundhog Day in early February. We're not seeing any kind of warmth materialize until we get to that time period. So we are going to be in this for the long haul. Thankfully, the nastiest of the wind chills will only last the next few days, and then those will begin to subside as we head into next week. But still a lot of wind to get through, and there will still be some very bitey wind chills in the morning. This is going to be kind of become our new normal, if you will, for a little while, and something we're absolutely going to have to get used to. I'll take a few of your questions, and then it's time to get ready for our morning editorial meeting. Tell the news folks what to expect weather-wise. Again, hopefully you're able to stay warm today, tomorrow. Got some indoor plans to stay warm and all that good stuff. Maybe some hot soup. That sounds really good. Midnight Mausoleum, you're going to be hibernating the next 2 days. Amen. Yeah, I don't have very many plans to leave my house either. Question from Ron in Davenport. Why does the polar vortex seem to break down so much more often? Well, it has to do with weaker winds aloft. It's no surprise that we're getting this polar vortex breakdown right now. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. We have mentioned as a team that this winter season was going to be dominated by a La Nina pattern, and La Nina seasons are notorious for polar outbreaks of air. Now, it didn't happen right away. It's been delayed to the back half of the month here in January, so we had to wait a little bit for it. But it's no surprise. If you look at the typical La Nina winter, there you see that jet stream oriented to the south of us that is able to grab onto that cold air and bring it right into the center part of the country. So this is the plan. This has been the plan for several months now. It's just been delayed on getting here. And remember, we've had quite a few of these La Nina winters as of late, and that's why we've seen these more frequent shots of colder air. Billy, good morning to you. And Clinton was wondering if you could talk about the potential ice storm in Mississippi. You have family in the northern part of the state where freezing rain is possible. Thank you for your time. Hope you have a good day. Hope you have a good day as well, Billy. And thanks for joining us this morning. Yes, so the ice storm in Mississippi, again, this has the potential to be quite historic for a good chunk of the south half of the country. I'll go back to the ice graphic here. Give me a second to pull it up. And we'll get it on the screen so you can see just how dramatic these totals are. It goes off our color scale. That's how much ice they're expecting. So let's pull it on through. We'll go to the state of Mississippi, and there it is right there. So just south of Memphis, the north and northeast part of the state, or northwest part of the state, excuse me, is where you're going to see the greatest impact. So if they live north of Interstate 20, that's where you're going to see the significant icing. It's north of Interstate 20 and west of Interstate 55. We are familiar with Interstate 55 here, right? That's a familiar number. But yeah, going down to Jackson, Mississippi, if you're in the northwest quadrant, northwest of Jackson, that's where all that ice is going to be. And again, this has the potential to be historic in terms of how much ice and how much power could be lost here. Tyler's wondering why we're not seeing any snowstorms here in the Midwest. We talked about this yesterday during our Ask Andrew segment this time yesterday morning. So I will rack that back up here, and we'll put that graphic on the screen because it's all about the jet stream. And in a typical La Nina, as I just showed you, the jet stream is not in a favorable position to get a large snowstorm to develop here. What I'm showing you here, of course, is the jet stream going into the next couple of days. You notice there's a dip in the jet stream just to our west, from Denver down to Dallas and St. Louis. That dip is not positioned where we want it to be to get a snowstorm here. That's why this storm is going to the southeast of us. That dip needs to be much further west, down to El Paso, down to Vegas, down to Denver. Also notice, too, that the dip is oriented in such a way that we call it a positively tilted dip, or in the land of weather, we call these troughs. Let me put a pause point in here, and I'll show you what I mean. So because this trough is oriented in a positive direction like this, it's not conductive for us to get a snowstorm here. What we would like to see is we would like to see a negatively tilted trough like this. So that dip in the jet stream, you notice again, it's really easy to see here, especially right here. It's oriented in a positive direction. Let me put a pause point on this. For some reason, we're not getting a drawing. There we go. Okay, now I should be able to draw. So here you can see how it's leaning. We're looking at the dip and it's leaning in this direction. That's the direction we don't want. We want the opposite direction for that lean. I would like to see that dip lean this way in order for us to start getting a winter storm here. And if you take this into the future, the jet stream pattern, it is still not conductive to any major winter storms here. In fact, most of the dipping of the jet stream, if you will, is going to take place to our east. And that means the storm track stays away from us. And it looks like even in the long term, we're going to start to see a split jet stream, which eventually will start warming us up here Groundhog Day, where you get a branch of the jet stream that's way up here, and then you have another branch of the jet stream that's way down here. When they're split like that, that promotes a lot of westerly flow over our region here, where we can finally latch onto some warm air from the Pacific Ocean and will moderate temperatures up. But it is not conductive to a major snowstorm here in the Quad Cities, at least any time in the near future here. It's not looking good for that. Antonio, are we going to see more snow besides this weekend? No, this weekend is the only chance I see. Good morning, Paul. Good to see you. I hope you're staying warm as well. Chris, good to hear from you. Have you ever seen 1 to 3 inches of ice on a forecast map in your time? This is my first. I agree, this is my first as well. I have never seen an ice accumulation map that looks so dramatic as the one that I just showed you moments ago on the screen here. This is going to be downright historic. Paul's wondering, any polar vortex cold coming in February? It looks like at least the first half of February we're going to take a break from that for a little while, but I guarantee we have 1 or 2 more rounds of it yet to go through as we go through time here. So again, looks like we're going to moderate temperatures some as we get close to Groundhog Day. If you're curious, I'll throw up the 14-day so you can see when we get a little bit of a thaw. But it looks like we've got several days where we stay below freezing. I don't have us back above freezing until the day after Groundhog Day on that Monday where you see 30 and 34. Groundhog Day is that Monday where it's 30 degrees. So it's going to be quite a while. The cold air is here to stick around, something we're going to have to get used to. And again, shouldn't be too surprising given it is the end of January. This is typically kind of one of our colder periods of the year in total. I know it's nasty. Yeah, it's something we're just going to have to put up with for a little while. Don't forget, this evening, Chief Meteorologist James Zahara will have another live stream just like this one here. It will be at 8 o'clock right here on the A+ app. And I think that's becoming a regular thing now. So it's something you can add to your calendar, kind of add to your evening routine, and check back in and see what the snow is looking like for the upcoming weekend. I think most of us, again, this is going to stay south of our region. You got to go way south down to Macomb, Monmouth, south of Burlington, and into Peoria to see any kind of meaningful snowfall accumulation. Regardless, we are going to keep an eye on it. Meteorologist Morgan Strackmine will be back in for the 11 for me today, so look forward to watching her and her forecast. I've got a station tour to give here to a homeschool group of kids and their parents. So we're looking forward to that. They're braving the cold to come on in and see the studio today. So we'll host them. Hopefully we can get them in at the end of the newscast. They can do a little shout out at the end of the 11. So tune in again. Chief Meteorologist James Zahara will be on the newscasts this evening, and then another one of these lives on the A+ streaming app coming your way at 8 o'clock. Until then, please stay warm. Keep an eye on yourself, your pets, your neighbors and friends, and anybody else who is vulnerable to this cold. I'll see you a little later.